Hi, all the students. Welcome once again to ASCAT YouTube channel. And sitting with me is Divyanshu Pareek. And Divyanshu Pareek has just completed the second stage of NMIMS admission. He is right now in Mumbai. And just after completing, he called me. So I thought, let me record the conversation so that all the students who are still conscious about what is going to happen in the competency exam and how that AI proctored interview is going to be. So I guess this discussion is going to relieve you of your anxiety, and you will actually come to know how these things are going to be. So Devyanshu, I do understand even you were concerned, and we had a lot of discussion, and we had our own guesses pertaining to what possibly is going to happen in the competency exam. So anyway, Devyanshu, how the process was and how the overall day was. Was it tiring or okay?
No, sir. It was the entire experience was very enriching, I would say.
Okay, fantastic. So Devanshu, you have to just tell me how actually the process went, how the day started, at what time did you reach the center, and after that, how the flow was.
So the day started with again a little bit of anxiety since today was the day of the exam. But I had the last slot, which was A2 at 2 p.m. I
Okay.
reached the center at 1:30.
Hmm.
Then we were supposed to wait in the VIP lounge for a while.
Okay.
After which, in the VIP lounge, we had to submit our belongings and we were given a token that we will use to take our belongings back once we are done with the entire process.
Hmm. So Devanshu, around how many students were there in total?
Sir, in my slot, there were at least 200 students.
Okay, 200 students. Okay. And anyway, all the students you people do know, this time the cutoff was 209, surprisingly and shockingly. Last year, the cutoff was 234. So this time, one additional layer was added. Till last year, the students who were supposed to clear the cutoff, they had to just face the personal interview. But this time, Davyanshu and students were more anxious about that competency exam. So how was it?
So the competency exam was actually contrary to everyone's expectations. It was on the similar lines of the NMAT,
Okay,
but I would say a lot simpler.
okay. So can you just tell me how many questions were there and what was the duration? And was
Yes,
it a computer-based test?
yes, sir. It was a computer-based test. The entire duration was 45 minutes, and there were three sections in the paper.
Okay,
For the first was verbal ability section, second was mental ability, and the third was managerial ability.
managerial ability. Okay, and I guess that was something which was new and quant was not there, is it?
Yes, sir. Quant was not there.
Okay, and how many questions of verbal ability?
So we had 9 questions on verbal ability, 6 questions on mental ability, and 5 questions on managerial ability. A totality of 20 questions to be done in 45 minutes.
45 minutes. And was it manageable? All the questions were simple?
Very manageable, sir. Honestly speaking, for any person who has scored a 209 in the NMAT would be able to go through most of the questions easily.
Okay. And Devanshu, can you just elaborate what kind of questions were there in VA?
Yes, sir. So out of the 9 questions, 3 questions were based on para summary, 3 questions were based on para completions, and the 3 questions were based on one RC.
Okay. And what about mental ability?
Mental ability was just like the logical reasoning section. We had one
Okay.
strengthening weakening section question. We had one question based on the inference that follows, and the rest 4 questions was based on an arrangement set, which was again very doable.
Okay. And what about managerial ability? Were these questions like the kind of decision-making questions which we see in that?
So I won't say they were an exact replica, but
Okay.
they were sort of a decision making section only. So the questions
Okay.
that we had consisted of caselets. Out of the 5 questions that the section had, 3 questions were based on caselets and 2 questions were pretty straightforward, but again, they required a little bit of thinking.
Okay. Were the options confusing?
Yes, sir, confusing. And I personally think you need a certain level of knowledge to tackle all of the questions very simply. I think this was the only section that could have given the aspirants trouble a little bit.
Okay. And moreover, students has 50% weightage. will be given to competency exam, it is going to play a very crucial role. So even a one answer you are giving wrong, possibly it can cost you dear. So anyway, Divyanshu, after completing this competency exam, okay, but the second stage, the AI proctored interview. So how was that?
So the entire process was really smooth. After we were done with our competency test, we were taken over to the eighth floor. There we were supposed to sit in a common room and we were served refreshments. And
Okay.
and then our names were called up and we went into our separate rooms for our interview.
Mm.
So in the room that we entered, there was a laptop and there was one panelist sitting.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. And when you go to the room, the first process would be done by the AI, then the panelist takes over.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the point happens to be you're supposed to look at the laptop. AI is going to ask the questions there, and you're supposed to reply to the laptop. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So how the process started? Okay. So which was the first question? What was the duration of that interview? Just speak about that.
Yes, sir. So I had to log in with my NMAT credentials into the laptop. Then the AI interview started. Now the first question that the AI threw at me was entirely based on my SOP that I had to submit while I was filling my NMAT form for the second stage.
Okay. So which was the first question?
So, sir, the first question was I highly demonstrated and highlighted my leadership management and other skills in my SOP. So, it asked me that tell me one instance wherein you realize the importance of leadership management and collaborative effort in a team with your studies or outside of your studies.
Okay. Okay. And
Yes.
okay. And tell me, was the AI patient enough to listen to the answers in detail?
Yes, sir.
Because generally we see many times panelists, they keep interrupting in between. So what happened here?
Sir, to be honest, when the AI asks you the question, automatically the mic is switched on, and then you're
Okay.
supposed to speak. So
Hmm.
you can go for as long as you want, as much as you want to elaborate your answer, and you can again keep it as short and simple as you want, both
Okay.
sides of the
Okay.
spectrum.
Okay.
Now, when you are done with your answer, then you can just click post, and then your answer is posted, and then the AI throws another question at you.
Okay. Okay. And what about the next question? Uh, is the next question also based on SOP or it is based on the answer which you give?
So, sir, the first question that the AI throws at you is based on your SOP, but the questions that follow are actually from the answers that you give. AI catches your entire answer and then it asks the question based on your answer itself.
So which was the next question for you?
So, sir, I highlighted that one incident wherein I realized the importance, and then it asked me the same question related to that. When
Okay.
I when I answered this question, surprisingly, the AI said, now shaking things a little bit, it asked me how is the global shortage of semiconductors affect the Indian economy,
Okay, so that question was
which was
out of
again,
the blue. Did you tell anything which is related to
yes, sir.
technology, computers, and that is the reason that question came, or that was totally out of the blue?
That was entirely out of the blue, sir. I did not mention anything of that sort, but I think the AI was also trying to understand the current general awareness of the aspirant.
Okay, but Divyanshu, I know that you have actually completed your BCA. So possibly you would have mentioned about your BCA and as it is related to computers, that is the reason that question came.
I don't think so, sir. Honestly, in my SOP, I did not write anything about my undergraduate degree or to elaborate it. I think this question and the further questions that I'll tell you about were entirely based out of testing the general awareness of the candidate.
Okay, okay. Yes, please carry on. So, to this particular question, you gave the answer, and okay, and the further questions, were they based on your answers or they were complete surprise for you?
So, sir, after this question, the AI asked me, is there any sport or any particular sporting event that you have followed closely? So
Okay.
therein I demonstrated about my love for football and everything. Then
Hmm.
it asked me another question.
Hmm.
based on what I answered, like what two strategies of two football clubs do you do really fascinate you? And when I answered this, then again AI said, now shaking things again a little bit. Tell me how the geopolitical situation in Europe would actually affect the Indian economy.
Okay, okay. Is it?
Yes,
So
sir.
it seems like all the students do understand whatever things we have written in the SOP. Questions will be definitely based on that. The AI will try to understand your profile as well, and the AI will try to understand whatever things you have mentioned in your SOP. It will not accept them at your face value. So possibly questions can be there where you will have to justify whatever things you have mentioned, but at the same time, you people have to be ready to face the questions which may be pertaining to geopolitics, current affairs, or anything, okay, which is there in public domain and public discourse these days. So all the students be in touch with newspapers and be in touch with the current news as well. And all the students do understand when we talk about current affairs, just knowing the facts and figures is not going to help us. Ultimately, we will have to have opinions on these things. And possibly the kind of questions which Divyanshu is talking about, you will have to actually put forward your opinion. And that is the reason you have to be a bit assertive as well. So anyway, Divyanshu, whatever things you were talking about, was AI countering them? Was AI bombarding you with more questions on the same topic and negating whatever you were giving in the answer? Did it happen in that way?
No, sir. Unlike actual panelists, AI wasn't contradicting anything that I said or
Okay,
interrupting me in
okay,
between. The AI just listened to my answer. It threw a follow-up question at me if it wanted, or else it
okay,
changed the entire direction of our conversation. So there were 12 minutes assigned for the AI interview.
okay,
Now, I did not elaborate my answers really much so
okay,
that the AI could not ask me further questions. The AI asked me, I think, 6 or 7 questions, and 4 minutes was still left on my screen.
okay, okay, okay,
But then the AI said after the sixth or seventh question that thank you, that is all I had, and then I had to exit the exam, and then the panelist took over.
okay, okay. All right. So, can you just tell me, panelist, was it again a formal interview or okay, what was that?
So surprisingly, this time my luck really panned out. I would say the panelist was really sweet. It turned into more of an informal chit chat than a formal interview.
Okay,
Uh,
okay,
she asked me about my school life, how it feels like to be in Bombay, what all places have I visited, and about my family, about my journey so far. Why NM? There was, I think, only 2 or 3 formal questions that the interviewers asked. Why NMIMS? What sort of domain do you feel like pursuing your MBA in? Apart from it, it was very informal, sir. It was more like talking to an elder sibling of yours.
okay, okay, okay. And how long it lasted?
So, sir, my AI interview was for 8 minutes, as I mentioned, and I think the conversation with the panelists lasted for about 10 to 12 minutes. So, approximately 20 minutes, the entire process was done with.
Okay, 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 okay. And Devanshu, when you came out, or possibly before your interview, you would be discussing with the other candidates as well. So, what about the other candidates? Did they also have a similar kind of experience?
Not really, sir. Since we were sent to separate rooms for our interview, my panelist surprisingly was very sweet enough to just have an informal chit chat, but not
It
every
seems like
panelist.
Devanshu again and again we are mentioning this very sweet enough, very sweet enough. Okay, so so I think all the students, if you are listening to Divyanshu, let us not expect that your panelist is going to be equally sweet. Okay, right. So
Right.
anyway, Divyanshu, this was the whole process. Any special takeaway, and especially the students who are going to have their interviews now. Okay, any piece of advice from your side?
Only once, the one piece of advice that I want to leave the other aspirants with is the competency assessment test is pretty simple to crack. I think everyone can score till a particular amount. The decisive factor again would be just a question or two. I think the primary factor that will separate you from the rest of the candidates would be your NMAT score and your work experience.
All right.
Again, since there's only 10% weightage to the personal interview, there's not much of a difference that it will make, since everyone knows how to speak a little. But the primarily, I believe the differentiators would be your NMAT score and your work ex. So if your NMAT score is good, I would just say go with a very positive mindset. The competency assessment will not be a hard exam to crack, and just nail your interview.
Chaliye, so thank you, Divyanshu. Thank you very much. And all the students watching this video, thank you very much for being with us. And please ensure that you like this video, and especially Divyanshu ke liye, the wonderful experience which he shared, and especially for the sweet interviewer which he had, ek like to banta hai. Okay. So thank you, Divyanshu, for being with us, and all the best for the forthcoming interviews now. And all the best, and all the best, students who are going to have the interviews now. At the same time, if you are still left with any question, yes, in the comment box, you can actually post your question and our team will reply to that. All the best. Thank you very much.